Tired of your old kitchen or bathroom? Upgrade to the home of your dreams with Manny and Courtney from CMK Construction. $3,000 on a new kitchen and $2,000 on a new bathroom. And take advantage of our no money down and no interest financing until 2026. Imagine, design, build. Tired of your old
from the
kitchen
Tampa Bay 28 Weather Center in Studio A. This is Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by CMK Construction, crafting Tampa's most exquisite bathrooms and kitchens.
Hey there, everybody. It is a Friday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. Thank you very much for stopping by. We have got some very heavy rain going on out there. We've got the tropics. We've got a Friday. We've got an NFL game tonight. We've got the Steelers taking on the Chargers. I believe it's the Steelers and the Chargers in Brazil. And then we got college football. We got so much stuff going on. But before we get into all that, we're not on TV tonight because the WNBA is on. And that gives me an opportunity to do what we started more of this. You know, when we got a 30-minute show and we have commercial breaks and whatnot, it's really hard to do the one-on-one. And I think you guys know the one-on-one is my favorite thing about this show. It's how it started. It's kind of the roots of it. So let's check in and see who's here. Leisha, as always, good to see you. Now, Leisha had a sister who passed away many, many years ago. But Patty Sue was one of our biggest supporters, would always send letters to Wendy and I. And boy, I don't know how many, it was a long time ago, Alicia. But Patty Sue was one of my favorite viewers I think we've ever had here in the 31 years that I've worked in the Tampa market. So I hope you're doing well. Anna Maria, good to see you. Debbie, as always, nice to see you. Mary from Lilman's in the house. Jason. Julie, nice to see you. Tampa, Pam from Tampa, Florida. Tampa. How are you doing? TGIF to you, Terry. Abby, nice to see you. Dominique, Newport Richie. We have got Jules. No breaks, exactly. So we can kind of do our thing today. Talk a little bit more without worrying about me being late and pressing this button. This thing stresses me out. And I will tell you, by the way, so a little background, a little behind the scenes here. So when DPL started on TV, on broadcast in July, you know, I suggested to the powers that be, I'm like, you know what? I'm good doing this Monday through Friday when hurricane season is here. It's a little tougher for me to find some stuff to talk about, maybe when there's not a lot of weather going on, but truth be told, there's not, because y'all always give me something to talk about. But I was talking to folks today, and I'm like, so, you know, what's the thought process once we hit the end of November and hurricane season's over? And they're like, yeah, we're going to keep this 5 days a week on TV because we're getting ratings, because people are watching. So thank you for watching, even though we're not on TV right now. For the folks who watch on TV and follow on Facebook, I appreciate that. For the streamers, I appreciate y'all. Honestly, this show just kind of started as just a thing, just a way to pass the time between the 7 and the 11, or the 6 and the 11 o'clock newscast, and it's turned into a community of folks. We bicker, we support, we do everything, and I'm truly very appreciative of all you guys. Stephen in Clearwater, good to see you. Lisa. I want to say Liza, but it's Lisa. I'm trying to remember because, you know, some of these, it's a little trickier. Sherry, good to see you. Don in Lakeland. Cheryl with Nokomis is in the house. Robin, good to see you. I did just crack off a DDP, Emily. It is the smaller ones. See, I like the smaller ones. One of my biggest things that I do, which is really bad, is I will open up a soda. I will drink some of it and leave it sitting there, and I'll never finish it. And I'll have like 3 sodas open around, and none of them are completely full or completely empty. So I've started buying the smaller ones because it's far more likely that I will get them drank in one fell swoop as opposed to just leaving them sitting around. No, I'm just saying that DPL is not on TV tonight. And as a matter of fact, yeah, we are on stream, but you're right. YouTube is carrying the Steelers game. So, boy, how things have changed, right? It used to just be a few TV channels. Now NFL games are on streaming and all sorts of different, you know, Amazon's got the Thursday night games. I think they still do. They did last season. So it's crazy how it's just branching out in so many different directions. Let's get into lightning. Palm Bay's in the house. We've got Frisco, Texas. Dave, how are you? Maryland and Clearwater. Austin, how are you? The Rays games are in a weather delay, probably because of the, oh, shoot. Well, you know what? I got to check my phone because I've literally been talking with the Rays ops guy as we speak. So they're not from rain. I guess it's from the lightning is what I'm thinking. Let me go ahead and take radar full and check it out. Waterspout in Palmetto. Thank you, Liam. If you have any pictures of that, please let me know. Stand by. Let me scroll down. The Steelers aren't playing? It isn't? Wait a minute. Stand by. I thought it's the chart. Are you sure it's not the Steelers playing? Let me look here. I thought it was. I thought it was the Chargers and the Steelers, but maybe, oh, it's the Chiefs and the Chargers. Yeah, you're right. Yep, that's right. The Steelers are playing the Jets. That is correct. I do remember that now. My bad. Chiefs versus the Chargers. What was I thinking? You don't think they'd have Travis Kelce on prime time? I mean, let's be honest. If you guys weren't big on seeing Taylor Swift on NFL games prior to the engagement, you know. See, my take is they're going to get married on the halftime show. It would be the biggest ratings in the history of television. You know it would be. You know it would be. Anyway, let's go back to radar because I do want to talk about what's going on. I don't have a commercial break to hit. I'm so excited. Okay. Let's go back and look at radar. I did not hear that the Rays were in a rain delay. Are you sure? Because look, it must be from the lightning. I mean, because look, you've got lightning. Yeah, you know, that's probably why. It's just, I have not heard that officially, but I trust you. Jason saying, not beating the Swiftie allegations. Jason, that did not mean I would watch it. Okay. All right, let's talk. All right. I love being able to have these conversations like this because honestly, when it's on TV, I'd already be nervous that we were on a break. All right, look. All right. So, Bridge is like, look out the window. I have no window in the studio. I have to go all the way out there. Okay. Look, my kids have been saying that I am a Swiftie for a long time. All right, let me explain why. Okay, first of all, I took my daughters to her concert, the Eras Tour, had a blast. I mean, something that they'll always remember, right? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a pop music guy. I am. I like all kinds of music, but I'm a big pop guy. And there are absolutely songs of Taylor Swift that I like because I like pop music. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you and embarrass myself. I mean, we did a story on the Backstreet Boys. There's a Backstreet Boys song. I've never been a big NSYNC fan. And so there you go. You got the whole back 90s competition. Did you like NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys? I preferred the Backstreet Boys. But I don't like the boy band concept per se. I just like some of the songs, right? Well, it's the same thing with Taylor Swift. There are some songs that I like, absolutely. Especially my daughter, Ryan, and Kendall, both daughters. Love Story, that song is kind of our song. So there's a history to it. Anyway, point being is my kids say, because I know the songs, that makes me a Swiftie. See, I disagree. I think a Swiftie is someone who is all into Taylor Swift's business and knows everything that's going on about it. That is not me. But I do know the history of one song all too well because I read it somewhere. I like to keep up with pop culture. And when I let my kids know that I knew the history of that one song, I was banished to being a Swiftie for life. It's just the way it's happened. So like April, Backstreet Boys all day. Like New Kids on the Block. All right, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This might be an unpopular take, but I personally think my daughter, Ryan, her rendition of the national anthem 2 nights ago was better than the New Kids on the Block, the Eagles game yesterday. I'm just saying that maybe I'm biased, but I thought Ryan was a better version. I just did. So anyway, all right, now last Friday it was all about Halloween candy. Now we're all talking about Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC versus Taylor Swift. So I repeat, even though my children disagree with me, just because I know something about something doesn't mean I'm a fan of that, okay? Just saying. All right, let's go back to radar. Why is it that it always comes back like this? And I know there's some people, who are really not fans of Taylor Swift. I don't know why. I mean, the woman is a self-made billionaire. She is incredibly popular. A lot of her songs are very catchy and popular. I don't know. Maybe it's politics. I mean, that's probably what it is. But you know me, I don't do politics, period. So there you go. All right, there's a look at the rain that continues to fall. Are you sure? Let me look if the Rays game was in a rain delay, because that just surprises me. It's got to be lightning if it is, because it's not raining. But there is lightning close. Oh, Alcaraz defeated Djokovic. I was wondering about that. Stand by. I'm looking at the scores. Yo. Yeah, they're in a rain delay. Stokes, I'm on DPL right now. You want to come up and say hi? I can't. Come on. You guys haven't met Stokes yet. Stand by. Hold on. Wait a minute. Okay. So, no, not you. No, I'm just. All right. So this is one of our new directors. This is Stokes. Stokes is a big Eagles fan.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
last night he was over in Prompter, and we were having a discussion about dirty football play. And about the dude who spit on Dak Prescott. I did not know that Dak actually spit first.
Yeah, he spit on the ground in front of him.
But he didn't spit at him. I think that was the conversation. Mm-hmm. And he owned it, by the way. The Eagles, he owned it.
Yeah. He said he won't make that mistake again. He didn't say nothing about Dak. He talked about what he did and left it at that. I respect that.
And I'm with you on that. You know, we all make mistakes. Mm-hmm. You make a mistake, you're like, all right, I got it, and then you don't do it again. So anyway, this is Stokes. Stokes is one of our new directors. So anyway, we were getting into weather. Yeah, I'm surprised there's a delay, but it must be because of lightning, because it ain't raining. It ain't raining. Let's go ahead and take that back full again. Jalen Carter, yeah. Tanya says, hi, Stokes. And Mary says, welcome to DPL, Stokes. And everybody's saying, hey, Stokes. And then Patty wants to see the blob, except she called it a bloob, not a blob. Sherry says, hey, Stokes. All right, I will show you the tropics in a second. Let's do local first. Why? Because I'll tell you why. Now, this might be a little of a hot take, and I don't want to get burned by it. But I will tell you that right now, the odds, in my opinion, of what's happening right now are a heck of a lot more rain from what's happening right now than what we would get with any tropical system being looked at, the red bloob, as someone said. So yeah, the red bloob will more than likely not have. I mean, I'm not going to guarantee it. And we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about the red bloob in a minute. But first, we're just going to talk about radar. Okay. USF chances against UF. Michael, that is a very good question. Patty wants to see the bloob. Wait a minute. Stand by. Rick and Monica. Good to see. What is the line on that game? I am very curious what the line is on the Gator game. And I have no idea. I would guess they're probably maybe a 2-touchdown favorite, maybe a little more than that. I'm looking as we speak. Stand by. Stand by. We will get to all things. We are no longer through. We won't have to worry about hitting brakes now. So we're good. I'm looking. I'm scrolling. I'm still not seeing that. There's got to be a line on it, right? I mean, there must be. Why am I not seeing that? Is it a night game? This might be by times. Florida State's a 44.5-point favorite. Boy, how things changed. Here you go. Yeah, 17.5. Gators are a 17.5-point favorite over USF. I think USF's a live dog in that game. By the way, I have both sweatshirts. I got both of them. I have the Gator one and I have the Bulls one. I didn't wear either one. That's why I picked this Penn State one, because I didn't want to tick off the USF fans or the Gator fans. So here's the heavy rain that's just continuing. I'm going to show you something. So watch the loop here over the last 30 minutes. And then we'll get to the red bloob, I promise. So see how it's not really moved a lot? Matter of fact, look at that area of rain around Pinellas Park. It's just kind of expanding. It's staying to the west of the bay, so it is not raining at Steinbrenner. But I guess lightning is close enough for them to delay. I'm a little surprised. You know what? I'm going to say one other thing that happened. And this is conspiratorial. So last night, when the Eagles were playing the Cowboys, during the game, did you see on the big Jumbotron that they said the National Weather Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning for that area, and that's why people needed to evacuate or get out of the stadium? There was no severe thunderstorm warning issued by the Weather Service. That was a lie. Did you know that, Stokes?
I did not know that.
That was a lie. There was no severe thunderstorm warning issued in that area. Now, do I have a problem with them stretching the truth to the people in the stands to get them out of the stadium? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. Because they did it, obviously, just to clear the stadium. Because, look, you've heard me say this a million times. Severe thunderstorm warnings have nothing to do with how much lightning is occurring. And we all know lightning was the big risk, right? Severe thunderstorm warnings has nothing to do with the excess or the amount of lightning. That's all it is 60-mile-an-hour winds or 1-inch hail. Now, there has to be some lightning or it wouldn't be a thunderstorm technically, right? But I found that there was something about me that I was kind of like, nah, why are you lying to those people? And let me tell you one other thing that happened. It's like, where are we getting in the tropics? I promise we'll get to the red bloob. But I remember several years ago, there was a power outage at the Trop, all right? And it was the substation that lost power. And it was either the city of St. Pete or the Pinellas County or somebody. I can't remember the details. It was a while ago. They blamed a lightning strike on that power outage that caused the Trop to lose power. There was no lightning in that area that night. None. But they still blamed the weather guy. They still blamed the weather on what was not a weather power outage. It was just, from whatever reason happened, whatever the transformer or whatever blew, it was not the weather. And I'll never forget that, because I'm like, because then I get the, hey, Dennis, how come you didn't say there was going to be lightning? There was no lightning. Now, last night, there was lightning at the Eagles game, but there was no severe thunderstorm warning. All right, anyway, let's get back to weather. And then the red bloob. All right. Okay, so let's look at how much rain has fallen in this area, because I bet there's been a couple inches of rain in the last 3 hours. So let's see. There's been no rain in the last 3 hours. Zero. No, maybe it just hasn't Maybe it just hasn't accumulated yet because it just happened. There you go. I was going to say, come on. All right, so here's rain. Let's look at the last, well, let's look at the last 3 hours. All right. So from Seminole down to the beach, 2 inches of rain. All right, so all these areas, about 2 inches of rain from Seminole, Madeira, Reddington Shores, Indian Rocks, Largo. The Largo bubble hath burst. Safety Harbor, close to 2 inches of rain. So all the area in blue, right around 2 inches of rain in the last 3 hours. Area in green, Clearwater, like I said, the Threshers game got rained out. I was talking to Jason Adams, their general manager, not our Jason Adams. We have 2 Jason Adams here. We have an engineer, Jason Adams. Then we have meteorologist, Jason Adams. Then we have Jason Adams, who's the general manager of the Threshers, who's a very good guy. Love Jason. I love all 3 Jason Adams. All 3 of those Jason Adams are awesome guys. All right, so wait a minute. I'm going to show you the rain for the last 24 hours, and then we will talk red bloobs. Okay, so here's rainfall of the last 24 hours. And it poured last night. Poured. But I didn't get a drop of rain at my house, not a drop. But if you went 2 miles south of where I live, there was like 2 inches of rain and the roads were flooded. That is Florida for you. Okay, folks. It is not a red bloob anymore. It is an orange bloob. New numbers are out. Here, I have to change that number. Let me go ahead and manually change that. So it's down to 60%, 30 and 60. So stand by. Let me change this. We are now looking at an orange bloob instead of a red bloob. 30, 60, take. And there it is. It's changed. Okay. So let's talk about this stuff, shall we? Seminole did not get it. Charlotte, come on. You had to get rain last night. I mean, you'd know more than me, I guess. But maybe you slept through it. Maybe. Because, wait a minute, who's running their mouths, Bridget? Let me tell you, Bridget is the enforcer. You know, we've been doing this show for a long time, like 20 years, believe it or not. And people have developed their own little personalities and their own tasks. Bridget is the enforcer. So who's running their mouths? Let me find out. I want to see scrolling up who's running their mouths. Casey, trying to figure out if my kid's high school football game will get rained out in St. Pete. I don't know. I mean, usually, don't they wait them out? I mean, there's lightning out there, so they're probably going to have to wait them out. But I'm really kind of surprised. Somebody said red bloob, Carol. It was a typo, I think. So I just, you know me, didn't take much for me to pick up on it. All right, anyways, let's talk tropics. Okay, so one of my rules is you don't get too high when the tropical picture looks good, and you don't get too low when the tropical picture looks bad, okay? And we're now experiencing both of those right now in a lot of ways. What do I mean by that? Yesterday, there were folks who were posting the 12-day GFS, and we all know what the GFS has a propensity to do down the road. It likes to blow things up. It just does. And we know that. And you probably know that if you've been following this page, and any other folks who follow weather pages probably know that. So you've heard me say this 1,000,001 times. Look, I don't see the point of posting something that far out if you know it's going to be wrong. And my take, and that's just my take. That's just mine. Other people have their own, and that's more power to them. But I hate to be wrong. I told you this yesterday. I hate to be wrong. So if I'm going to post something 12 days out that I know it's going to be wrong, why post it? That's my mentality. There's other people who want to post it because they're interested in it and they find it fascinating. Hey, that's fine. That's fine. When I start getting people freaking out because they've heard that a hurricane's going to hit Florida in 12 days because they saw it somewhere else, it makes my job a little tougher because they come at me and say, you said, well, no, I really didn't. You probably saw it somewhere else. No, it was you. No, it really wasn't. But when you're scrolling on your feed, it's kind of sometimes hard to keep track of who says what. I'm following the same boat. I can't remember half the thing that I see on there and where it came from. But my point is, again, when a storm is a potential storm, when the models look really, really bad for us, I'm like, you know what? Take it down a little bit, especially if it's more than 7 days out. Look, if it's 2 or 3 days out, we're all going to agree the odds are in favor of what's going to happen based on that forecast. Even 2 days out, it changes. Even 6 hours out, it changes when it came to Charlie. But my point is, when it looks really, really good that something is going to not impact us, I also stress, don't get overly confident. I play both ways the same. Don't get too high when it looks good. Don't get too low when it looks bad. And I say that with this orange blob right now because, yes, the models are backing off on it a little bit based on a lot of issues, but it's still located in a position that it could still get its act together and it could still impact the islands. And we'll go ahead and look at the models and I'll show you that, okay? But so Jeff is saying they're building an ark in Safety Harbor. So the rain is definitely coming down. All right, so let's go ahead, take some models and look at some of the models. And there's going to be people who say, oh, you just want people to, you're going to say that we're not out of the woods, which I am the last person. Look, I have been criticized many times, and I will be honest, sometimes it's a valid criticism. I have been criticized in the past that I'm overly optimistic on the track of a storm. Now, I don't think I am, but I can at least understand and entertain that concept. And it's all because I truly believe in my heart of hearts that showing the worst case scenario is not a reasonable representation 99% of the time. 1% of the time it might be. But my experience of doing this for 40 years has shown me that the overwhelming majority of the time, we don't get the worst case scenario. It's somewhere in between. Isn't that life in general? It really is. It's life in general. We usually don't get the worst case scenario. Every now and again we might, but I'm more inclined to be middle of the road is where we typically end up, all right? So when there's a possibility of a storm impacting us, if it's outside of a 7-day period, I'm like, look, guys, look, it's probably going to miss us. And it usually does, unless it was Irma, which we kind of had our finger on the pulse of that one, even when it was over in Africa. But again, my point is, what is my point? My point is when looking at this storm or potential storm, yes, the Hurricane Center is downgrading the possibility of it developing by 10%. It's from 70 to 60. It could still happen. So we keep track. We keep you check in once a day. And I hope you check in more than that, but you check in once a day and just make sure that nothing has changed. That's all. That's all. So let's go ahead and look at some of the models, okay? And see what's happening here. By the way, streamers only have a little bit of time left. I think streamers are out at 55 seconds. So there's a look at the orange blob. We are coming up on a La Nina. I'll talk more about that later. Okay, here's the GFS spaghetti models. And you see two things. So wait a minute, I'm just going to show spaghetti models. Where is that? There we go. Because streamers are going to be gone. Streamers you should be watching on Facebook in 28 seconds. So there is a look at the latest spaghetti. And look, it goes to the islands. So look, if this were to develop again, it could be an impact for the island in about 6 or 7 days. So let's not write this off. Yes, it looks much better than yesterday, but let's not write it off entirely, okay? Streamers, check us out on Facebook. Have a great weekend. Okay, so streamers are gone. Now we can talk all about the streamers. No, we love the streamers. We love the streamers. All right, let's get back to it. So this is a look at the spaghetti models, and they're rather tightly clustered. and this is 5, 6, 7 days out. Takes it very near Puerto Rico, very near the Virgin Islands. But what is it that is it? All right, what are we talking about is it? All right, here is the GFS. Now we're going to look at a couple of things here. All right, there's two areas that the GFS is looking at. Now, let me explain something here. One thing that you learn with experience and in school is you learn to recognize and you learn what particular models have certain biases. All right, the Euro has a cold bias in the wintertime. The GFS has a tropical bias in blowing things up unrealistically past 7 days out, okay? But one thing the GFS does, and this is experience that tells me this, the GFS, when it latches onto an idea, all right? In other words, when it latches onto something is going to develop, and you saw this last year, it would show a low in the Caribbean every day for 2 weeks, and it would never back off on that idea. It never happened for those first 10 to 14 days, but then it finally did, okay? And the reason I say that is because the GFS is now starting for the last week to show lowering pressures in the Central Caribbean. So as we get more into September, if it continues to show that, then I would tell you, in spite of me mocking the GFS sometimes, look, the GFS is still a model, and it's still fine. There's not a thing wrong with it. It's a good model. It just has a bias for tropical stuff down the road. As I take a swig of Diet Dr. Pepper. Okay, so here's what I want to show you. We're looking at two areas here. We're looking here. That's the area the GFS has been showing, and then we're obviously looking at this. And then there's another one behind it. It's a conga line. So, if you look at the area in the Caribbean, and then this, I want you to look at a couple of things. Lots of things to look at. These lines are all green, right? All these lines, they're all green. Green is a weak system, 1,000 to 1,010 millibars. That's a depression at most. So, remember what we've always said. The stronger the system, the more likely it's going to go zoop and go to the north. A stronger system will be drawn poleward. A weaker system will follow more low-level trade winds, which takes it this way, okay? So, notice how much green we are. We're not seeing any red. We're seeing a lot of green. But we're also seeing, and this is what, okay, and you guys know me. I've been buddies with Mike and Mike's Weather Page for a long time. I love his family. I love Mike. We have different styles in how we present stuff. We have different audiences. Some people watch both. But Mike talked about 3 or 4 days ago about the stuff in the Caribbean, and he was in a little mood, and he's like, I'm going to get raw now. I got a feeling this thing's going to go into the Gulf. And I even called him. I'm like, Mike, dude, what are you doing? It's like, because he's looking at the GFS, right? And the GFS has not backed down from that idea. Now, it said it was going to happen as of today, and it hasn't. But as I said, what I've seen over the years is when the GFS doesn't back down on an idea, usually, eventually, it comes to fruition. It finally happens. Now, it may be 2 or 3 weeks later, but it still happens more often than not, okay? So, if you look at what that area I have circled, you see this little blue area that then turns red right here. you see this little blue area that starts to turn red. Why is that? It's pretty obvious, because the water is so stinking warm in the Gulf. So if anything were to form from the CAG down in Central America, and it gets into the Gulf, look what happens. It could very easily turn into a major hurricane. I'm going back now. Now, look up here. Okay, there's the next area to look at. You get these offshoots from 91L. They're blue, and then they start to turn red because they're getting stronger. Oops. Now, that takes us to the middle of September, okay? But the majority curve, the weakest one goes into Central America. But with the last GFS ensemble, how many go into Florida? The answer, bupkis, zilch, 0%. 0% of them, okay? So yesterday, there were some other folks who were taking the GFS operational run that brought it into Florida and showing that. And there were those, and by the way, I'm in this list as well, that had issues with showing operational runs 12 days out. And you're going to get some people who are going to say, well, it's just a model, and why not show it? I repeat, in my opinion, this is just me, no different than anybody else, I won't show something that I know is going to be wrong 98% of the time. It's that simple. Why? Why are we doing this? Are we doing this as a public service to try to get people more informed and to be more prepared? I would say yeah. How are you helping the general public when you're showing something that's wrong 98% of the time? And that number is not a made-up number. 12 days out, 98% of the time it's wrong. How are you helping people? How are you doing a service? My take is you're doing a disservice. So let me tell you why. Because people are going to see that and it's going to be wrong. It's going to be wrong, it's going to be wrong, it's going to be wrong 98 out of 100 times. So when you're doing that, when you're messaging to people what the weather is, inevitably you are eroding their trust because they think you're wrong all the time. Again, this is just my opinion. Everybody's got their own, whatever. It's my show on here. I can give my opinion. You guys give your opinion. And I'm looking at it. And I love reading your opinions too. But that's my take. One, I hate to be wrong. So I'm not going to post something that I know is going to be wrong. But even more than that, how am I helping the public? How am I serving the public by letting them know something that's wrong 98% of the time? I don't know. I know the other side of the argument. If you're a weather enthusiast, you want to see it. I get it. Okay. But for the people who are just trying to find out whether they're getting hit by a hurricane or they have PTSD after last year, how is that doing them a service? I don't know. That's just my take. Okay. So let's get back to, that's the GFS. And the point is, the GFS is showing 0. Now, you know what? I have not called up the operational run of, where is that? I don't think this is the right one. Yeah, okay, let's go ahead and call up the operational run, the GFS. So when the ensembles are showing no impacts at all to Florida, let's use the 12Z because the 18Z is usually out to lunch. The 12Z of the GFS is going to be more accurate than the 18 more often than not. Let's go ahead and call it up and let's see. All right, so I'm looking at your comments now. Let me see. Somebody said, okay, I'm just looking. I'm just trying to figure it out. It's still red, Kevin, because I didn't hit refresh on that computer. But you know what? That's a really good point. Here, let's go ahead and call this, add this, and I'm gonna change, I'm gonna hit refresh. Thank you for letting me know on that, Kevin. Thank you for letting me know. Here, let me hit refresh. That computer has to be manually refreshed, and I hit refresh, and now it will be correct. It will be orange. So, see, you guys got my back, and I appreciate you. There we go. All right, so now I'll call it back up, and it will be orange. Here, I will show you. I had to move on the other side here. I will show you the Euro AI coming up next, Danielle. All right, but here, let's go back. Let me show you so you can see it. And voila. It is orange. It's an orange blob. The orange blob is back. That's going to live on. Now, it can't because people who didn't watch today won't know what I mean by that. But it's so funny. Yes, you are correct, Jason. Helene and Milton were both from the CAG. It's a Central America gyre or gyre. I always get confused how to say that. It's like gyro or gyro. You know? Is it a gyro or is it a gyro? I've heard both ways. I think it's a gyro, but I know people call it a gyro. All right, so let us look now at the 12Z. I have not looked at this. Let's look at the 12Z GFS and see what it does. Yesterday, it had a hurricane coming into Florida. Today, I don't even see a system. Right there, yeah, right there, going into the islands, right there. So here, let's look. Still kind of there, but now see, look at that. That is another system entirely right there. So it makes it go, it's gone. It completely fizzles it out. So there you go. There cannot be a better representation of why there will be meteorologists who will be frustrated with posting the long-range forecast because it's wrong most of the time. Yesterday, it's a hurricane to Florida. People see that. They start freaking out. They go buy toilet paper. They're getting all freaked out about it. They're stressed. Stress is desserts backwards. I love. Today, it's gone. Why would you want to post something you know is going to be wrong 98% of the time? That's my question. Okay, so there you go. That's that. So the GFS is gone. Let's check the others, shall we? The blob is gone. You are correct, Patty. All right. Yeah, you're right. It's not even, I agree with you. I don't even think it's an open wave. I wouldn't disagree with you, Jonathan. All right, so there's a look at, now let's look at the Euro. Here is the Euro, the deterministic view, the operational view. You got the Euro showing the ensembles. Remember, there's 51 of these, but there's still a couple out there that are developing it, okay? Now they curve them. And what did we learn? What did we learn, right? Why are these curving? Because they're getting stronger. So there are, right now it's right here, and they're out there. But then right here, there's only about half of them. And why is that? Because it fizzles them out entirely. A few hang together and curve it north because the stronger system will be drawn poleward. And it still also shows this little area like the GFS has been showing. So let's keep looking. Seven days, 8 days out, 9 days out. So, I mean, look, it does have a handful. In fact, this is an Aaron. That looks like Aaron on the left. So there are a handful that keep it together. And then there's one. Look at that. Okay, you know what? Another perfect example, okay? So you look at this, and the overwhelming probability with these 51 ensemble members is that it's either going to fizzle out or it's going to curve. But when I say don't get too high or too low with model runs, because there's usually in between. And if that's the case with this one, more than likely, it's not going to have much of an impact. But I'm not going to sit here and say we're home free, because there is one model that brings this in right there to South Florida. as a major hurricane. Now, that's 1. So we're clearly not going to focus it. 1 of 51. But the point is, it is not 0. Matter of fact, that's your 2%. That is the 2% rule that we just talked about with the GFS. Literally 2%. It's 1 of 50. So out of 51 members, there is 1 that brings it in. And another one that slows it down, but it's still going out there. So it is not. So my point is, just because everything's, have you read, if you read most of those sites today on social, they're now saying, well, I guess it's not going to do anything, and I guess it's okay, and we're nothing to worry about. But I'm not ready to go that far, because just like yesterday, I wasn't ready to go, oh, we're going to see a hurricane hit Florida. Today, I'm not ready to say we're absolutely out of the clear entirely, because we're not, because we're in between. So that's why we just check day by day. Let's call the euro. Now, my guess is the euro kills this entirely, but let's look. Let's call up the euro, 12Z. Come back up. Let's go euro, 12Z, add. Okay, so here's the euro. You've got your area down here. There it is. And it's right there. See it right there? The little load out there. That's something. That's along the stalled out front. Got all these little weather things going on here. So remember, we got the stalled out fronts, right? And you got little areas of low pressure that can develop along it. And right there is one of them, right there. But it is the operational run is taking it north. Oh, and look, it does a little loop then. A little loop-de-loop. Loop. And then it finally lifts north. So the euro does nothing with it. All right? Let's look at the euro AI, and we will see what that shows. Euro AI, I'll be honest, euro AI has not been very good this year. And it was so good last year, but not really good this year. Okay, there's the euro AI. Got the stalled out front, so you got low pressure developing along that stalled out front, and a little storm developing along it, right up the Jersey shore. It's along that stalled front. But look in the Caribbean, nothing. Look in the Gulf, nothing. You do have a couple of little somethings out here, but they're also curving. But that's 2 weeks out, whatever. It doesn't know. But the euro AI ensembles, which are right here, okay, this is the way to look, much better. You got your stuff coming in through the islands, right? Gray color, that's weak, very weak, very weak, and it really never does much of anything with any of it. Then you got another one coming behind it. There it is. Look at that one. That's the second one. And that also goes north for the most part. Not all of them, but as we've told you 11 billion times, that is the way most storms go in September, right? There's the most common track in September. Offshore. Offshore. Obviously not all of them, but offshore. I wasn't looking at comments. What's Austin doing? Oh, boy, I'm looking. Ban Austin, ban Austin. Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay, Austin. Okay, Austin, you know better. Austin's probably not even a real person, but all right, let's see. Where do we do this? All right, here we go. Austin Smith. My computer's going, oh, here we go, stand by. Austin Smith, ban from all lives. Do I ban from all live streams or ban from page? Let's just do ban from all live streams. Forever and ever, including the afterlife. That's a new update from Facebook. That's kind of cool. They're now adding the afterlife to it. Banned from all live streams. Confirm. See ya. Austin's gone. I bet Austin's not even a real person. But if he is, he's gone. My internet's acting so funky. I tell you, it is. Okay. Everybody's banned Austin. No, Marcus. Miami should not be worried. Wait. No, that's Marcus Coleman. It makes me laugh. Okay, I can block forever, but I won't ban from the page. I just ban from the live streams. The best part of the show. It makes me so sad, but it's true. People are like, yeah, I just sat here for 30 minutes, gave in-depth weather analysis, talked about all this stuff. No, dude, the best part of the show is when you hit the ban button. So, oh well. Hey, you know what? That's okay. All right. So, now Red says, how many boy bands can I name? All right, probably only 4. Okay, all right. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Boys to Men, and I can do more than that. New Kids on the Block. And here's one that'll get you. The Sasha Boys from K-pop and K-pop. Isn't that a boys band? Maybe not. Maybe, wait a minute, I'm not sure. But Sasha Boys from K-pop Demon Hunter, that's, trust me, that's always at my house. My daughter loves it. All right, wait a minute. So, and you know what? There was a song that I liked. Darn it, what was the name of the group? I would call them a boy band, but they weren't popular. You guys probably don't even know them. You know the song. I bet you probably know the song. I know the song, but I can't think of who sang it. The song is Back Here, Baby. BB Mac. All right, so I would say, like, who? Yeah, BB Mac, Sasha Boys, K-pop? Is that boys band? Maybe, or is that a genre? Boys to Men, New Kids on the Block, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. There you go. So that is it. All right. Hanson. Yeah, Hanson was a boy band. I mean, you make a great point. The Beatles were a boy band. That is a great point. All right. So have we covered all the tropical stuff? I think we have. We've shown you all the models. I told you I can't write it off entirely yet, but it's certainly not a threat to Florida right now. But I'm not ready to write it off entirely, so I will be updating as always. And you know why we get on our soapbox when it comes to long-range forecast, because I argue they're not doing a service to anybody. When it's wrong 98% of the time, how are you really helping anyone with the information that you're doing? Now, if it's a weather group where it's just people are interested in weather, yeah, you know what, show it, right? But if your goal, my Facebook page is not a weather group. This show is more of a weather group. But my Facebook page is more designed to be informative from the community's perspective. So, and we may have just hit the nail on the head right here, people. We may have just solved this controversy. So, people whose pages are more designed for community service, I would argue my page is more designed for informing the public, for community service, still funny stuff and sharing family and whatnot, but part of the community. It is not, I would argue my page is not a weather page per se. I would make that argument. I put just as much stuff about my family, about sports. Now, and you know what? You get the people who say stick to weather, and I ban them because it ticks me off. And I will not stick to weather because mine is not a weather page. Clearly, weather is my strength, but I talk about other stuff too. But a page that is designed mostly for just talking weather, then I don't see the downside of posting whatever things you want to post model-wise, because that's kind of what it is. But my perspective is I let people know if they're safe. My goal is to reassure them when they're nervous and to let them know. I've said this for years. My job is no longer just getting the weather right. My job is taking people by the hand and getting them through a weather situation that is stressful and one that they need help with. That is what I feel my goal, my job is. That is not every weather person's job in their minds, but that is mine. It didn't used to be mine either, by the way. When I was younger, I just wanted to get the weather right. I didn't care about any of the other stuff. But as you get older, you kind of change your view on that. Okay, now, see, and no one heard a word of what I was saying because you guys are just talking about Hanson. So, Iron Maiden. Now, Iron Maiden, not a boy band. But yeah, it is not a weather page. It is not. We obviously do weather, but it is not a weather page. Okay. I'm now scrolling through and seeing what else yet. All right. So, the Chargers already scored. The Monkees, yeah, you're right. I'd say the Monkees were a boy band. The Rolling Stones, I don't know. I think they would be insulted if you called them a boy band. I think the Stones would be like, no, we are not a boy band. But you can make the argument they were. Look, I mean, I agree. The Beatles might very well have been the first boy band in history. Because think about it. You got all those videos of all those girls who were fainting and screaming while they're watching the Beatles. So, yeah, I think that's a great point. I think the Beatles were the first boy band ever. Jules, it is a community. I agree. And look, Anders is like, nah, man, we just want another band button. That's all we want. That's true. You're correct. Wait a minute. People are just talking about Hanson now, so I don't even know how that happened. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Bop was kind of a catchy song when it came out. It was. But the Beach Boys, yeah. That's a good one, too. Beatles were before the Beach Boys. So I would still argue that the Beatles were the first boy band. And Patricia, that's kind of what we try to do. It is a comfort page. Whether I'm joking about dessert spelled backwards is stressed, or, you know, hurricane snacks, eat them, repeat. You know, buy new ones, repeat. We try to provide a little levity. While we give out information. But let's check radar again real quick and just see what's going on with that. The orange bloob is still out there. So let's look at, did he say orange bloob? Yeah, I did. If you were here, you knew. But if you missed the beginning of the show, you missed it. Yeah, heaviest rain is over. Still raining from Clearwater south, but the heavy stuff is offshore. Have the Rays started their game yet? I'm surprised they delayed. Rascal Flatts is not a boy band. Yeah, remember, Joel, there were days I used to be able to play music before Facebook would cut you off, but now you can't anymore because it's got that, it's listening. It's always listening. My Chemical Romance. Let me tell you, not a boy band, but I love. Welcome to the Black Parade is one of my favorite songs. So our family, we love to play Rock Band and Guitar Hero, right? And watching us shred on Welcome to the Black Parade, it is that, and Free Bird is another great one too. But that, to me, that's the best game in the history of the world. Guitar Hero, to me, is the best game ever created. You can argue video game versus board game, I guess. I mean, Monopoly is the true classic, I suppose. So, okay, I guess I would change it to Guitar Hero is the best video game ever made. Now, that would be my opinion. I know there's a lot of people who think otherwise, but that would be mine. Rays are playing now. They're down 5-0. Ugh. That's unfortunate. Wait a minute. So what is this? So much more respect now, Michael. What did someone or I say that causes you to be more respectful at this point? Because looking forward to Black Parade Christmas. See, Eric, I've seen some houses that have the pixels hooked into Thunderstruck. And those are some awesome displays, and it's way above my skill level. I'm just not that good at programming some of the stuff that they've had out there because it's pretty unbelievable. Jennifer, I'm in Ohio right now. I've been here since Sunday, flying home to Clearwater this Sunday. Anything to worry about? Nope, you'll be fine. Oh, the My Chemical Romance. Yeah, that song, that's probably one of my top 10 songs in history. Welcome to Black Parade. I love that song. Aerosmith Guitar Hero was life-changing. Yeah, I mean, they did. They had, well, and I downloaded it. I still have them. So I downloaded probably 100 different songs. The Billy Joel pack. I mean, there's just so many great Guitar Hero songs. And then Band Hero was kind of, I didn't like as much because those drums were kind of annoying. You know, the original, my sons still play Guitar Hero because there's a website now, I can't remember what it's called, but all the current songs are, not all, but lots of current songs are available now for Guitar Hero, which is pretty awesome. You have to download them, and it's not the same format. It comes up as an MP4, I think, and you have to change it. But anyway, I digress. Marilyn's talking boy bands. Freebird, yep, Freebird is still probably my favorite Guitar Hero song. Flock of Seagulls in Expert was next level. Yeah, so what is the one that is the hardest one ever? Something about, my sons played it on Expert mode. And it is literally supposed to be the hardest. What is it called? Maybe Google will have it. Dennis, rain in St. Pete tomorrow, timing. I think it would be more late morning into early afternoon. I am going to see that movie, Tess. Yep, I'm absolutely going to see that movie. What is the name? Pink Bloob. No, BW, it needs to be Orange Bloob. What is the name of? Yes, that's it, Michael. Through the Fire and the Flames. That is it. Yep. And watching my kids play that is pretty awesome because it is insanity. Watching them play Through the Fire and the Flames. Yeah, you guys knew it. Look at that. Ashley knew it. Jason knew it. Sarah, so show me your bloobies. I was waiting for that one. Yeah, Michael. Yeah, that's the one. Through the Fire and the Flames. So that is such a fun song to watch them do it. So, all right. Well, anyway, I'm going to go watch football. Recapping a weakening system, but still not completely out of the woods of developing and impacting the islands or somewhere else. The overwhelming majority of the models and the ensembles, like literally almost all, keep it away from the United States. So it's looking pretty good right now. There will be more behind it, but we are going to keep our eyes on the Central America, the CAG, because as much as I make fun of the GFS, one thing it doesn't give up. And when it shows something for a long period of time, as it does with this, as it has for about 10 days, a lot of times it eventually comes to pass and starts to see something. And that's the last thing we want to see is something developing in the Caribbean. So I guess that's it, guys. You have a great night. As always, I appreciate, this is such a different show when it's not on TV. I mean, it just is, because, I don't have the time cues and everything else. I love them both. I'm so thrilled to be on broadcast, on the spot. I love this. I love that. It's taken it to another level. Like, it's a real thing. And I was convinced we were going to get hash marks. Hash marks are a thing that you get in the ratings if, like, no one's watching. But we don't have hash marks. We've got some decent ratings. There's actually people watching on TV, which is pretty awesome. But you guys know my heart is still with our core group that's been around for 15 or 20 years. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys have a great weekend. I'll be updating social as always. We'll see how things play out with this area. It may or may not be Gabrielle. If it isn't, the one behind it might too. So we've got time to keep our eyes on it, but nothing is threatening. Enjoy your weekend. Don't worry about it, and just keep checking in from time to time for the latest tropical weather. You guys have a great night, and we'll see you on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. See you guys.